Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to discuss a very important concept related to job preparation. Yes, you guessed it right. It is about writing a winning resume. How do you craft a resume that stands out and improves your chances for getting an interview call? So stay tuned till the end of this video. If you like our channel and have not subscribed to our channel, please click on the bell icon to subscribe it and give it a thumbs up if you like the content we produce. Thank you. Before we dive deeper into the resume making process, we need to understand why resume is important. Now in today's world, when a certain job opening opens up, there is a fierce competition. Approximately about 200 people compete for this position. So your resume actually has to go through from the very beginning of being created till it gives you an opportunity to get an interview call. So your resume makes a journey. Now let us look at how it makes this journey. So the moment you put this resume into the application system or the company for which you are trying to apply for the position, it competes with hundreds of other resumes in the system. Now, it is not possible for a HR to actually go and check with every individual, do their screening manually at this stage. So what typically HRs and companies do, they use something called as the ATS or applicant tracking system screening. So it's a software which basically has the feeds of what the job description expects from a certain role, and this ATS system is run on your resume, and if it passes through, it goes to the next level, otherwise it gets filtered out. And you will be astonished to know ATS filters about 80% of the resume. So whatever applicants have come, about 80% of the resume never make it to the next round. Only 20% or less make it to the manual screening round. Now even if your resume makes it to the manual screening round, here the person who scans your resume needs to find in the first 7 to 8 seconds whether your resume is fit for the job description or not. If it is not, then trust me, it's put aside and the person moves to the next resume. So such is the level of competition. So the trick to writing a winning resume is to make your resume so good, so easy to read that first it passes the ATS, and second it is very easily readable by the hiring manager or the recruitment personnel who is scanning your resume to give you an interview call. So in this video, we are going to talk about sections in the resume and how we can bring these sections we can do more in these sections so that it stands out and it is easy for the recruiter to understand the match between your profile and the job description. In this video, we are going to talk about the different sections or different elements of resume. A resume typically has a header section, a summary section, a skills section, a work experience section if applicable, an education section, achievement section, extracurricular and interest sections, and additional information if you want to mention something different or something that you would have done which could not be covered in earlier other sections. So what we will do is we will go section wise, and I'll try to highlight what are the best practices there and how you should craft your sections so that your resume stands out. Let's start with the header section. A header section should be as clean as possible. It should clearly show your name and your most recent and updated contact details. It is very important because many recruiters try to reach you either through mail or they want to just WhatsApp you or through mobile phone. So every time you send out a resume or upload your details into a portal, you need to ensure that the right contact details are mentioned, something that you use, right? Additional information such as LinkedIn profile or want to mention anything else, are all optional. You may or may not include them, but bare minimum is your email and mobile number along with your name. While I have seen many resumes where they put photographs, I think avoiding photographs, we should not, avoid photographs, because some ATS tend to filter out because they can't read the resume properly. They just filter out. So avoid them when you are submitting resume through referrals, or you are uploading the file. You may have a good passport size photo done in a scanned format, because nowadays many portals which take job applications also ask for a profile pic. I'm going to talk about the summary section. The summary section is very critical because that is the first thing that notices the recruiter's eyes. Okay, so I have seen over a period of time when freshers write their summary section, they typically use something like seeking an opportunity in a growth oriented company where my skills and potentials will be utilized to the best, things like that. So it is a very vague statement. Neither it tells you about what skills you have or what kind of company you want to work. So these type of opening statements where you are putting a summary should be best avoided. Instead, I can give you a sample here. You should write, I am a marketing graduate from XXX college, having experience in digital marketing, content marketing during my internships. I have an IT background from dash company, and before joining my MBA, I am looking for an opportunity in the area of social media marketing and search engine marketing, and that would be a perfect summary statement, right? A summary statement should ideally sum up your education, your skills, your relevant exposure for that skills. Anything that you feel interesting should give some hook to the recruiter when he is scanning through your resume. Those points should be included in the opening statement, in the summary section. The skills section, this is a very important section. So you can use bulleted points to highlight your skills. I consider this as a very good section, and I really like resumes which clearly tells the skills as a separate section. How it helps, because as I said, the recruiter doesn't have more than 7 seconds, 8 seconds to skim through the resume in a quick way. So if you can just highlight a section called skills and put your skills, then it is much easier for the recruiter to look at the job description and find your suitability for the role, which is why I think it is an extremely great idea. It's a very great idea to have a separate skills section in your resume. Besides, it also gives you a section where you can put appropriate keywords from the job description. Next, let me talk about the work experience section for people for whom this is relevant. The work experience section, you need to keep it very simple. You have to go with the reverse chronology order. The last company that you have worked, or your current company, should appear on the top, and this should be followed by all the companies that you have worked so far. The format has to be very simple. You just need to name the company name, and then you can say from which date to which date and which role, what role you have done. And below that, you just need to put 3-4 roles and responsibility points, and they typically should be in a verb to impact format. For example, acquired 5 new customers, and this helped in increasing the acquisition by 15%. A statement like this has far more weight than any other general statement which talks about your role and responsibility. So be sure to include action to impact kind of a statement in the work experience section. Next comes the education section. Here again you need to go in the reverse chronology order. Your last education or the latest education should come first, followed by all other education. If you are a work experience candidate, as in you have some work experience, then you don't have to go all the way till your 10th. Okay, you can just mention your top 2 qualifications, and that should be good enough. But if you are a fresher, then you don't have work experience, so you can go till 10th. Under each of your college, you mention, if you have done some extracurricular work, if you have been part of some initiatives, if you have done internships, just quickly summarize. And then if you have done some achievements also, you can call them out here, or you can call them in the separate achievement section, up to you, whichever way you feel comfortable with. So be sure to include an achievement and extracurricular section where you can talk about all the awards and recognitions you have received, be it academic, be it at your previous jobs, be it college where you would have won some business case competitions, some good hackathons, things like that. So be sure to include them in this section. In the extracurricular section, you can include your experience such as community service or something that you would have arranged, maybe a relief and rehabilitation camp, something like which basically talks more about who you are and what kind of things you have done. With this, you can summarize the achievements and extracurricular section. There is also this additional information section, which is optional. You may want to create or you may not want to create, depending on if you have not covered something, or if you didn't find these sections to be relevant to cover certain aspects and you still want to talk about it, you can do it in the additional information section. The last thing that I want to talk about in creating a winning resume is the do's and don'ts that you can follow so that you craft the best resume that you can, right? So some of the do's and don'ts for your resume is do not write long sentences, because when you write long sentences, people get lost. So, and there is a possibility of not having the right grammar and etc. So don't write long sentences, write short sentences. Ideal length of the resume. Well, I have seen resumes which go on, and honestly nobody reads that far. So ideal length is a maximum of 2 pages. Use simple fonts, avoid graphs and charts, avoid a multi-column formats. All this is required because you remember that this will go through your ATS also, right? So it will go through the ATS and may get filtered out. So use simple formats, don't use graphs and charts, multi-column formats, because it will make it difficult for ATS to read. Similarly, do not use photographs unless you are uploading it into a system. Again, I have mentioned this in the previous sections. Put absolutely recent and correct contact details. Okay, who would want that the recruiter is not able to contact you because your contact details were not right. So nobody wants that, right? So ensure that your contact details are recent. One of the last tip that you should do is in the resume, right? You should put a page number. And in the footer, you should also put your name. I'll tell you why. Because many times what happens is when the stack of resumes are there and you have multi-page resume and you have stapled it, the stapler might just get off the hook. So it might just get jumbled up. So if you have put page number and your name in the footer, the recruiter will make the effort to put the two things together so that your resume is not lost in the pile. So I think these are the do's and don'ts I wanted to share today. I'm sure if you follow the things that we discussed about these sections and ensure that you put these sections, put these tips and tricks into your sections, you would definitely create a winning resume, a very successful one. Which will help your resume to make the journey from creation to an interview call. So if you like the content today, just let us know in the comment box by writing what you liked about it. If you like us to make some videos on some other content, please let us know in the comment box as well. We will make videos on that. So thank you so much for watching us patiently till this end. And I sincerely hope that you find it very useful. Thank you so much. Until we see you in the next video.